All right, how's it going, beautiful people? This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist, coming from the car studio because I can, because it's available. So I'm working on some stuff and thinking about some things I need to do, and I realize that I often get into places mentally, right, that it's not so much that I start thinking about, specific things, but I start slowing down, right? Start slowing down. I realize that. And I don't know, things just kind of go a little bit awry. And as I'm doing this, I realize I'm doing my work, I'm doing my things, and all of a sudden I start feeling a little bit like, oh, okay, well, I gotta do that too. Oh, I start feeling, in other words, I start feeling like I don't have enough time, right? I start feeling like there's not enough time available for me, and I start kind of resenting a little bit. I'm feeling like, oh man, had I been paid more attention for this or that or blah blah blah. So it got me to ponder, right, on this idea of time. And I realized, you know what? There's a reason why I feel like I don't have enough time. I'm not being responsible enough. I'm not being responsible. I'm not responding, right? Responsible. Brian Tracy says that responsibility, the word, if you break it and you look at it, it's two words, right? Response and ability. It's your ability to respond, right? That's what responsibility is. It's your ability to respond. How much ability to respond do you have? And I realized that when that happens to me, whatever it's happening, right? Whether I feel like I'm down, or I don't have enough energy, or I don't have enough time, there's a lack. It shows up as there is a lack. There is a lack of something. There's a lack of time. There's a lack of resources. There is a lack of something. And then, therefore, I feel like I cannot continue. Or I can continue, but, it's not enough. There's a not enoughness feeling. And I realize that every time I feel this way, I'm performing slower. I'm working slower. I'm kind of moving just a little bit slower, or a lot, depending. Or I'm spending too much time on certain activities other than, than others, or doing more things, right? Tending the farm, as I call it. And so there's one thing in common when this happens. There's that one thing in common. I'm not being responsible enough. I'm not waking up at the time I need to wake up. When I start feeling a little bit like, oh man, what's going on? I start looking for why, right? Automatically my mind is like, what's going on? Why are you feeling this way? Why is it that, what's wrong, Jose? And then I realize, ain't nothing wrong, man. You're just being a lazy ass. I respond to myself, right? Like, no, there's nothing wrong. It's just that my responsibility has lowered. My bar has lowered. And this happens almost very sneaky, I can't put my finger on it. It's very sneaky when it happens. I can't really put my finger on it. All of a sudden, I start feeling like, I'm sure that the decline of energy or responsibility, I don't know what comes first. Is it that I stop moving with intensity, or is it that, that because I start thinking about things. I stop moving, or whatever. Right? I'm getting all philosophical here. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that there is less activity. Every time I find myself with less activity or activities, I feel like, oh man, what's going on? I don't know. You notice people that almost never do anything. They're like, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time for that. It's usually the people that almost never do anything. They're sitting in front of the TV, on a couch, I don't know, just hanging out, smoking, drinking, or eating whatever. And if you tell them, oh, we got this, we got that, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. I don't have time. They almost never have time. I got work. Yeah, well, that's 8 hours. What are you doing with the other 8 hours? I sleep. Well, that's 16. What are you doing with the other 8 hours? I don't have time. I don't have time. This is just constant. I don't have time. And I found out through my own experience that every time I feel like I don't have enough time, every time I tell myself that, or I point to that direction, like, oh man, I don't have enough time for that, or oh man, I have to do this, and that. Oh, how am I going to get it done? Every time that's happening, I've now realized, dude, that's not it. You're making stuff up. It's not true. What is happening is that you're not moving. That's what's really happening. You're not moving. You're not moving with speed and with precision. Now, what I mean precision is focus. That's what I mean. Focus. You're at a task, and that's the task you're doing. You're focused. You focus. You're like a hawk, like an eagle, right? You're like. But anyways, I found that out. I found that out in my own experience, because I tend to look at my behavior in terms of career-wise, and how how I'm acting, what is my behavior, my patterns, what do they look like, right? What does my day look like? And every time that I don't audit myself, I don't look at what I am doing, every time that I don't pay attention, I start dropping the ball, right? And then I have to go pick it up. And this is something that has happened to me, and it used to make me very upset. Like, what's going on? What is this? Why does this happen? It's like going into the gym for the first 3 days or the first week, and you're like, yeah. And then after the second week, you start slacking off. You go to the gym only, instead of 3 days or 4 days, you start going 2. And then, you sneak in a burger, you sneak in a shake in there, And then before you know it, you sneak in 30 minutes of, watching TV extra, or 2 hours of binge watching a show on Netflix. Before you know it, it's gone, right? It's gone. Your energy is gone. There is no enthusiasm, there is no energy, there is nothing, right? And then you ask yourself again, man, what happened? What happened? I was going to the gym, I was eating the right stuff, I was, thinking the right things, making the right decisions, making the right moves. What happened? Well, you know what happened? You took off your eye away from the ball. And it didn't happen like this. Most of us think that it happens like this. That you're going, and it's like, all of a sudden you drop it. I found out it doesn't happen that way. Through personal experience. No one told me this, guys. It's like this. You're doing your thing. You're awesome. You're picking up speed. Right? You're like, and all of a sudden it's like this. Look. Each behavior that you let go, each time that you get yourself off the hook, every time you take yourself off the hook, you're like, oh, I'll stay here a little longer. I won't create this painting today. I won't do that. I'll leave it for tomorrow. That's the killer. Every time we do this, that's the killer. I'm supposed to do this today, but I'm kind of tired. I'll do it tomorrow. The bar goes a little lower. Every time you say stuff like that, every time you say stuff like, I know I should go and talk to that gallery, but you know what? I'll do it tomorrow. The bar just goes, it starts slanting. It doesn't happen like this. There's no such thing. Like, you think that it happened like this. You maybe got in an argument, with your significant other, or you got an argument at work, or something really, messed you up, something pissed you off, and you think it happened like this. That you were picking up speed, you were doing all the right things, and all of a sudden, oh man, that didn't come out right. And then you go like this. That's almost very rare. That usually happens when it's and I don't even think it happens that way. I'm just giving a possibility. Some major event at home, right? Someone died or some major event. Then all of a sudden everything gets turned off for a little bit. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that you're picking up speed. You're going. You're doing your thing. You're creating artwork. You're learning new stuff. You're posting your artwork online. You're talking to the right people, or just people in general, which is a great thing to do. You're talking to to a bunch of people about what you do. You visit museums. You talk to people. You pass out cards. You have the art gallery shows. Even if it's not yours, you go in. You present yourself and you show yourself. It's the same as if it's yours because you're there. You have the same opportunity to talk to all of those people. Many times, there's a little side note. Many times I'll go to art shows because I know that the artists are so, many of them have their head up their butt that they won't talk to people. They're afraid of talking to people, and they're missing out on all of the opportunity of the potential buyers and art collectors that are there. So I'll go and I'll present, and I'll start talking to people, right? Because that's what I do. I don't do this it's not a natural gift. I don't like it. I'm a bit of an introvert, actually. If you see me in the street, I probably don't talk. I don't talk. But I need to turn myself on, right? To market myself and talk about my artwork and my product and on and on and on. So I'll do that. That's a little side note for you guys. A little pebble. A little pebble. Go talk to the galleries. Go talk to, you see a show, it's a perfect opportunity. Most people don't know what they're doing. It's a perfect opportunity. I'm not saying that you do this maliciously. That's not what I'm saying. Like go poach business, right? From other artists because they're so stupid. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that nobody's doing it anyways. Go and present yourself because you're probably the only one. You're probably the only one. If you're listening to this and you apply it, you're probably going to be the only one who is going to be talking at events, at galleries, and gallery shows. Most artists don't do that. Most artists think of themselves as cool introverts. And even when they need to be on, they're not. They would love for people to fish out information from them. They would look for people to fish out information like, oh yes, I don't know. Artists tend to do that many times. So anyways, aside from that, let's get back to our notes. When you feel that, when you have that feeling, which I've been experiencing lately, that man, things are, I'm sort of slacking off, right? I'm slacking. It's very important to know this, guys. This is something that, again, I've experienced. It didn't happen overnight. It started going like this. You either got overwhelmed little by little or whatever it was. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you recognize it. Because it's always the same thing. It just looks different. It's the same exact thing. You stop producing the same amount of work. You stopped producing. You stopped the activities, right? It's like I talked about the farm. You tend your farm. You have to take care of everything. The tomatoes, right? You have to take care of the animals and everything, right? Everything in a farm or a ranch, whatever analogy you want to use. I think of it that way, as a career, an art career, a business, whatever you want to call it. It's the same as a farm. You know, the tomatoes start drying up, the animals start getting sick, the coyotes are eating the chickens, right? Your crops are full of pests, and on and on and on and on. Dude, you stop taking care of it. That's all it is. You literally stopped taking care of it. You lower activity. More activities, right? But more activity, your personal activity in different activities. More motion from you in different activities will result in always, not sometimes, always will result in success. It's always. I know one thing in my career. I know one thing. It's work. It's not your talent, it's not your skill level, it's work. And you have to raise your activity, your personal activity, and deposit it in pockets of different activities, right? Your personal one, your movement. What time do you wake up? What time do you go to sleep? How many things do you touch? How many things are you doing, right? Did you take care of the chickens? Did you put the barbed wire for the wolves? Did you change the horseshoes on the horses? You know, what did you touch throughout the day? Do you have a list of what you touched? What did you do? Because of course you can't do it all in one day, but you should be able to touch it. You should be able to progress, right? To move forward every day. And as I'm telling you guys, I'm reminding myself of this, right? Because I'm going through it, and I'm like, shit, what's been happening with me? You know, the past week or so, what's been happening with me? Oh man, I listen my activities. You know, it's something that I remind myself. And as I'm reminding myself, I'm also sharing it with you. Why not? You know, I'm being as transparent as possible. I could not tell you guys this and pretend like nothing's happening and then show up and say everything's awesome. But I'm sharing my process, right? I'm sharing my process. So I think it's valuable for you to know that, dude, this happens to me too. This kind of stuff that I talk about, hey, keep your eye on the ball, be careful, blah, blah, blah. It's not because I'm on this place where I figure everything out. Of course not. I'm going through it as well. As an artist, I'm going through it. I'm learning. I've realized what's happening. And I think it's extremely valuable information for those out there. For those on the journey. It's just valuable information. You guys are on a journey. You guys are becoming artists, or you guys are already artists, getting into the galleries, selling your work online, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. It's the same gig. It will require sweat and actions. It's the same gig. All of it will require sweat and actions. You know, I mean, think about the actors. Most people are like, you have to be a really good actor. But think about the actors. Think about the gardens they tend, or the farms. More like a farm, not a garden. More like a farm. Think of the farms they have to tend to. They have to be great actors. And right, that's the point. That's the cost of entry. That's the lowest bar. They have to be actors, and then they have to be somewhat good, right? That's also cost of entry. Because otherwise, if you're not somewhat good, well, you know, who cares, right? You have to be somewhat good. You have to take care of your personal, you know, appearance, right? Depending on what you want to be. You want to be the comedian that's overweight? Cool. You want to be the you know, because that's usually how they portray them, right? You want to be the hero with the big muscles? Cool. You know, you want to be the I don't know, the good-looking lady, you know, with a super awesome body? Cool, right? Whatever it is, it's going to, it's all these things, right? Like, look at it as actors. we think about actors and we're like, oh yeah, well they have to act good. No, they're tending a farm too. They're tending a farm. They have to be great at singing. Most of them have to know some singing, some dancing. Most of them, especially the professional ones, the very pro ones, they know different accents. Sometimes some of them don't, but they're good at something else also, right? They have to have different accents. They have to be excellent narrators, right? They have to be able to read off script. They have to be able to excellent communicators. They have to understand the acting business, who to talk to, blah blah blah. They have to spend time in the gym. Now, this is not something that they do every now and then. This is something that they do every single day, right? They're tending their farm, as I call it. And the same thing with musicians, right? It's the same thing with musicians. They have to take care of their bodies. They have to take care of the contracts, the tours, learning new songs, composing stuff, and on and on and on and on and on. The list is long. As artists, our list is long too, guys. Our list is long, especially if you're looking to do it professionally. What I mean by that is full time or taking it more serious. The list is long. It's not just painting well. It's collectors lists, right? Where are you finding the collectors? Are you keeping a list of them? Who are they? What do they like? And on and on and on, right? Because when you have a collector that loves koi fish, you want to be ready when you paint the koi fish. You know exactly who is going to, almost 100% sure it's going to buy it. And so all of these things, right, that's just part of it. You have to know marketing. You have to not just know, but do. And if you don't know, then you have two jobs now. You have to learn and do. You have to learn selling, right, and do selling. And then you have to stay fresh in your painting and your career, your artwork. You have to stay fresh. You can't just be doing the same thing and hope that it's just going to pay off. People like to see progress, right? And you like to feel progress. You like to feel like you got better than the year before. Now, you're a better artist now than you were 2 years ago or a year ago or 10 years ago, whatever, right? People are like, oh, this artist's work from, this year, and now look, this is where they are now in this other year. And it's basically like wine, right? It's the older, the more refined you get, the higher taste, right? Because now you're learning more. You have more experience. You have more vibrato. You have the whole thing, right? So you're tending a farm. You're tending a farm. And again, when I started this conversation today, I was trying to let you guys know, look, if you feel like something, like you've been slacking off or something's not right, you haven't been at your top game, I want to remind you guys, because this is something that happens to me. When you're not at the top of your game, it didn't happen that way. It didn't just fall. It progressively fell. Especially if you're doing it every day. Okay? If you're doing it every day, it's very difficult to catch. It's very difficult to catch. If you do it every now and then, it's a little easier to catch, because you're like, oh man, I haven't painted in a while, right? Because you don't do it every day. But I know it sounds weird, because it sounds like it should be the other way around. It's not. Because you're doing it every day, you get tricked into thinking that you already did it. You get tricked into thinking that you already took care of it. But it was really last week. It was really last month. It was really 2 days ago. 2 days ago, it's not today. So imagine Michael Jordan or LeBron James or any of the greatest athletes today, right? Well, Michael Jordan's retired, but he was, right, when I was a kid. Imagine him saying, today, I'm just not feeling it, coach. I ain't gonna go run. I'm not running today. And I'm just not feeling it. Imagine that. There's just no way. There's no way. Because to be Michael Jordan, there's a requirement. There's a prerequisite of activities that it's hard being Michael Jordan that you have to do. It usually comes with a very, very difficult diet, one that they probably hate, right? It comes with exercises that they probably most likely really dislike. And most people say, I do it if I was going to be a professional guy, or I do it if I was getting paid that. But this is what we forget. They did it before they got pro. They did it before they got paid that. They did it before. So not everybody's willing to do it before. Not everybody's willing to do it before, and that's what I'm trying to communicate here. Look, think about it this way. If you want to get pro as an artist, realize that it's no different than being a pro athlete. It's the same thing. It's just you're not playing ball. You're creating artwork, but it's the same exact thing. It requires the same. And I've noticed that in my life, right? That, man, today I feel like, what's going on? Well, I didn't put the hours of painting that I usually put, right? If I start looking into my schedule, how much I painted, I'm like, oh man, this is why I'm feeling this way, right? My hours lowered, my creative hours lowered. What's happening in my bank account? Oh, I see what's happening, right? My marketing lowered. What's happening here? Oh, I see what's happening, right? It's the same thing as a farm. The horses are sick, right? Well, you didn't take care of them. The coyotes ate the chickens. You didn't put the barbed wire. It's the same thing. And just a little reminder, guys, because as artists, we tend to think, oh, if I just do this every now and then. Not if you want to go pro. If you want to go pro, it's a daily routine, and you have to. I'm saying this to you, but I'm not. I'm really saying this to me. And if it works for you, get it, use it. You have to audit. You have to make an accounting of how much time you're spending per activity, and how much activity is going, how many activities, and how much time per each activity. It is the only way. Only what gets measured can be controlled. You have to measure it. You have to constantly measure it. I know it's not artsy at all, but this is how I found things to work for me. Now I know other artists do it differently, but everybody does it differently, I guess. I don't know. This is what I found out that works for me. I have to constantly keep my eye on the ball, and like a good farmer, have to go look at everything. I have to go take care of my sheep. I have to go take care of my horses. I have to go take care of, my home, and on and on and on and on. My crops and everything. It's the same thing. And that's why you have to be quick, and that's why you have to go fully in. That's why so many people don't get the art thing. They're like, I thought I was just gonna paint. No, it's a multitude of things. I don't think any actor goes in there. I thought I was just gonna act. Maybe when they go in there, but once they're in there, they realize, oh man, it's not that, right? I have to learn how to tap dance. I have to learn how to sing. I have to learn how to on and on and on and on. And if they get a role that requires them riding a horse, they have to learn how to ride a horse, right? They have to go through that challenge. If they don't know how to swim and they get a role where they have to swim, they have to learn how to swim, whatever it is. So it's the same thing, right? It's activities. Anyways, guys, I'll leave you with that. My name is Jose Trujillo. I hope I didn't bore you to death. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys listening to my spiel. I hope it helps at least one of you out there. And keep it cool. All right? Take care. Goodbye.